Okay, hopefully that is recording. Yes, it is. All right, so I'm about to start a new batch and I'm going to show you guys the process that I go through. These are the rocks that I'm going to be working with. I am going to tell you that normally you don't really need to do anything to your rocks when you get started. Everyone's different. I do pre soak my rocks. In a solution just because I want to try to kill any organic material that might be caught in those porous rocks because I want the clarity of the stone really to come out and have not have anything interfere with it. So these are the rocks I'm going to work with. I always like to just keep them nice and wet. Most of them are from the ocean here. Um, and then some of them are actually rocks that were ordered. But most of these are from the ocean here. So these are all from our local ocean here in the Torrey Pines area. So just walking along and you can see these guys. I'm really excited about these to see what happens to them after I tumble them. So these guys are going to go in. And then I got some nice little agates here. And some. I'm not sure what's inside of there. It's got some neat stuff, some banding, and this one actually has run through a cycle of one, but there were still just a few little rough patches I wanted to try to get out right here. You really can't see it, but you don't want any of this. As you move on progressively through the stages, because once grit gets caught inside of it, it'll kind of ruin the process. So you want to make sure that your rocks are nice and smooth in number one, and you just have to be really patient and get it to the way that you like it. And I think that's probably the best way to move forward, so that you like what you've done. And then we've got some more here that are going to go in. Beautiful, beautiful stones. I'm really excited to see how some of these turn out. And then this is probably one of my favorites here. Hopefully, by the time it's done, it's going to be as beautiful as I think it is. It's already gorgeous. It's just like this very neat kind of like agate ties, like jasper with all kinds of like banding inside and these little fragments that are just gorgeous. So I'm hoping that these bands and this is really gonna look awesome in the polish. And then we've got some more like that, and then of course it's some other beautiful agates that I've picked up and some other pieces of different kinds of jasper and different things. So we're gonna I'm gonna fill it up. I don't want to fill it all the way up to the top, so I'm gonna start trying to arrange them and make sure that they're gonna fit well in here. That'll tell me how many I can keep going in this process. So I'm just gonna take some of these, put them in. These have been tumbling a while, so you can kind of get an idea. So pretty colors in there, lots of neat bands. That's cool. All right, so I think it's getting there. It's getting pretty tight. So I don't want to put too many more inside of it, because you want them to be able to rotate and tumble. Some people like to put the plastic pellets in this start of the first process. I don't do that just because I kind of want that natural process that takes place, and I want the rocks to collide because it's just more mimics the process that we see in nature, right, with the ocean. So when we go pick these up and they're nice and tumbled and shiny and pretty, that's what the ocean's been doing to them. So that's what I like to do. And this is so I have the National Geographic. This is the 6-pound tumbler, I believe. And so I think that's pretty good. I don't think I should try to put any more in there right now. So that's kind of what it looks like. And you don't want to really fill it up, as you can see. Like there's the fill. There's the top line right there, the ridges where the lid will go on. So I like to fill it up, three quarters of the way. I mean, that's a little bit more than usual for me, but I definitely like to have it so that there'll be enough space as the rocks tumble. So I've got this there. Hopefully you can still see that. And then I'm going to pour some water in. And some people use distilled water. I actually think that would be great. But for the purposes of this tumble, I'm just going to use some tap water. And as you can see, I didn't fill it all the way up. I just kind of took it to that, like the top of the rocks, like right to the top where the edge is, so that the water is just right at that ridge line. And that's perfect. That's what you want. You don't want it to be, too full. I'm going to leave these two rocks out. I could try to slam them in there and, see what I could do. But I really want to make sure that the space that I have, leaves them enough room to tumble. Okay, and then, let me get my grit. Okay, so perfect. We have that. I'm going to move this one out of the way. And then this is, of course, our step one, which is the course. And I get this one from the MJ Junior Tumblers. This is really good grit. I really like it. It just, I don't know, it just works better for me and a couple of times that I've been using it. So this is the deal. Some people like to measure. I'm not a measure person. I'm kind of like, let's just play it by ear and by eye. So I'm going to just look at it. And I usually like to do, so I guess that would probably be, oh gosh, I don't even want to say. Maybe 4 tablespoons in there. So I think that that's good for this tumble. And if not, if it doesn't create that slurry that we want so that the rocks tumble well, what we can do is adjust that and then measure it out. They do have recommendations on the packaging that comes with yours, but I've been doing this a few times, so I kind of do it by eye and I like the results, so I'm just gonna keep it at that. So that's what I'm gonna do. Now some people don't, they just like to leave it as is. I'm actually gonna include some of the borax soap in my first tumble, and it's just preference. It's just something that I like to do. I definitely want to keep, like I say, that first stage to me is really important because it's just the most transformational. And so the process of getting all the rough material off the rock, shaping the rock, but also there's some like organic matter in the rocks that you may not see, but microscopically it's there. So that's just something I like to do to just kind of help that process go through, and everyone does it different. So, do not have to do this, but I'm going to put a little bit of borax in there. So 1 second. And so this is just regular old borax soap, and then I'm just going to just put a little bitty bit in there. There you go. That's good enough. And then it's also going to help create that slurry in there that when the rocks tumble and get all mushy and garbled up and mimics what happens in the ocean, which is really cool. So yeah, that's my process. Just put the lid on and seal it up. Make sure it's good and sealed. So if you're doing this for the first time, you may not have a barrel as big as this. You may have like the, the hobby wheel, but once you get used to the process and you want to do something else, include a bigger, get a bigger drum, then go ahead and do that. But this is just the next step up for me because, I wanted to do bigger tumbles, bigger rocks. And so you just kind of duplicate what you did before, but you just kind of do it a little bit bigger. And then, we're going to get the top on, and that's it. So this is going to go in. We're going to put this one in for probably about 9 days, and then take a look at them. Maybe do them a little longer. Also, just be careful about the hardness of the rocks. You do want to pay attention to the hardness of the rocks because they do lose a lot of mass in this first cycle. So you definitely want to look after that first, tumble rotation and say, hey, look, is this rock really going to be the one I want to keep in here, or should I take it out and wait for another batch? Okay, so I will see you guys in 9 days.